What's up, everybody? I am not even going to look at my cards today because it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. The cards are too good that are getting released. My whole deck might as well just get burnt up. So, yeah, here we are. We're going to look at white cards and lands today. And as is every other day, there is real sweet cards out there. So, let's get into it. First off, we have Summon Knights of Round. So the first four steps are create 3 2/2 white knight creature tokens, and then the fifth step is other creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. Put an indestructible counter on each of them. Knights of Round is indestructible itself, and it's a 3/3, but the cost is 6 white. So can be really cool if you actually get a way to kind of protect your knights up until the point that the fifth one triggers. But it's definitely costly, right? This is going to be something that you're going to probably see in Commander, maybe, and find ways to manipulate the counters to try and get there quicker with it. But yeah, standard and limited formats probably too slow. Next up, we have Summon Primal Garuda. It is 3 and a white, flying 3/3, and it has 3 steps. Number 1, this creature deals 4 damage to target tapped creature and opponent controls. Another target creature you control gets +1/+0 and gains flying until end of turn, and that second part is level 2 and 3. I think it's probably better in the quicker formats. I think it loses its value extremely fast in things like Commander. So next up, Paladin's Arms, 2 and a white, has that job select that we've talked about previous in I think all the rest of the other videos. Equipped creature gets +2/+1 and ward 1 and is a knight in addition to its other types. Equip 4. So the interesting thing about this is I think it's not that great of a card, but I think it's real great in certain formats. Because in certain formats, there's players that look at Ward 1 and go, well, it's basically hexproof, so can't do anything about that. So there is that weirdness there. I think it's good for like pre-release and limited styles like that. Commander potentially depends on your play group, honestly. Oron's Inspiration, 2 and a white, and attacking creatures get +2/+0 until end of turn. It has flashback of 2 white. Card's fine. I don't think it's really anything super amazing. Maybe if you want to use it as like a finisher, say you go to attack. Blockers, they go, no blockers, I'm good. And you send through 4 or 5 things. You go, all right, sweet. Inspiration, there you go. I just did at least another 8 damage to you, right? If you're sending through 4 things. So there's that. Mechanist's Arsenal, 4 and a white, job select, and equip 4. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 for each artifact you control, and is an artificer in addition to its other types. Sweet card. I think there is some artifact deck within this set. I feel like there's some support, but maybe not enough to make this an awesome, just absolute beater. But we'll see when week 2 ends up coming out. Then we have Fate of the Suncrest, 4 and a white. This spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a tapped creature, and then destroy target non-land permanent. It's fine. Now we have Coral, 1 and a white, and then 4 1 and a white. Tap target non-enchantment creature, and it's a 2/2. I think it's fine for a low to the ground thing if you're playing like pre-release, that type of stuff. It's not making it out of anywhere else though. Cloudbound Mogul, 3 white, flying. When this creature enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Also has plane cycling for 2, and it's a 2/3. I think it's a fair card. You're probably playing it in more of a cycle graveyard style deck than Mogul's Valor. 3 white. For each creature you control, create a 1/2 white Mogul creature token with lifelink. Then creatures you control get indestructible until end of turn. I think this card is probably fine in a little bit slower formats where you can build up a board state. Yeah, it does nothing to like a board wipe, but you can get fairly decent payoff. And if you're running maybe like an aristocrat style deck, you get payoff just having them die or killing them yourself. At the very least, you get lifelink attached to 1/2s, and you decide how many 1/2s based on how many creatures you control, right? Rosa, Resolute White Mage, 3 and a white. Reach at the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It gains lifelink until end of turn. 2/3. Yeah, I think this works well. I think if you have like maybe like a white-green deck also that you're trying to cultivate, where you can make those counters kind of do more for you on the green side of things, works great. White, Zac Fair enters with a +1/+1 counter on it, so it comes in as a 1/2, and then you can pay 1, sacrifice Zac, and target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. Put Zac Fair's counters on that creature and attach an equipment that was attached to Zac Fair to that creature. This is going to fit into white or red-white kind of artifact style deck. Works really well in there, getting that free equip cost, gaining additional counters onto things. Yeah, good card. Phoenix Down. So this costs a white, and for 1 and a white, tap and exile this artifact. Choose one. You may return target creature with mana value 4 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Tap, exile target skeleton, spirit, or zombie. I don't know, there's something there. Beatrix Loyal General, 4 white vigilance. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may attach any number of equipment you control to target creature you control. 4/4. Insane card in equipment decks. Just kind of feels good wherever. I think even in faster formats, like if you get to 6, you have a bunch of equipment down and a creature, throw this down, attach them all to the other creature, let it swing, do its thing. White Auracite, 2 white. When this artifact enters, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until this artifact leaves the battlefield, and then you can just tap it for a white. I think there's things that are 3 mana cost that do it better as far as commander, but for an additional white, you can add 1 white. Yeah, I think you probably play it for the most part. I think you probably play it. White Mage's Staff, 1 and a white, job select, and equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has, whenever this creature attacks, you gain 1 life and is a cleric in addition to its other type. I don't think it really does enough for you, just gaining 1 life each time it attacks. Dragoon's Lance, 1 and a white, job select. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 and is a knight in addition to other types. During your turn, equipped creature has flying and 4 to equip. Probably only saves itself because of the flying on your turn. Otherwise, I still don't think it's good enough. But flying on your turn saves it for me. The Crystal's Chosen, 5 white. Create 4 1/1 colorless hero creature tokens, then put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Depends on how many creatures you have, because that +1/+1 counter on each creature could be insane, honestly. At the very least, you're getting 8 power coming in for 7. Okay. Cloud, Midgard Mercenary, white. When Cloud enters, search your library for a equipment card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. As long as Cloud is equipped, if an ability of Cloud or an equipment attached to it triggers, that triggers an additional time. Our last white card that we have is Aerith Gainsborough, 2 and a white, lifelink. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Aerith Gainsborough. When Aerith dies, put X +1/+1 counters on each legendary creature you control, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Aerith. Sweet. And it's a 2/2. And I think if you play it with, what was it, like a white-green multicolor card that cares about the legendaries, like, yeah, play it in that deck. That deck is going to be insane. Yeah, and it flips. So that is it for the white cards. Now jumping into the lands real quick. Let's look. We have Capital City. So taps and adds a colorless, or for 1 you can tap it and add 1 mana of any color, and cycling 2. Sweet card. Play it in everything. I think it's great. It doesn't enter tapped itself. At the very least, it taps for a waste, or even less than that, it cycles to draw a card. Yeah, great card. Ishgard, the Holy Sea. So this is an interesting thing that we have on a cycle of lands here, is they also have the adventure mechanic. So for 3 white, return up to 2 target artifact and or equipment cards from your graveyard to your hand. And it goes on an adventure, and then you can play it as a land in addition to that. So you go and you play it as a land. This land enters tapped and adds 1 white. So great. I think this is going to be kind of strong, like this cycle here where we have adventures on lands. Starting town. This land enters tapped unless it's your first, second, or third turn of the game, and it is add a waste, or you can pay 1 life and tap it and add 1 mana of any color. You know how I said the first land was sweet and just included in everything? Nah, do this one instead. This one is way sweeter, because life is just a resource. Always say that. Always remember it. Life is a resource, except for the last one. The last one is the one that makes you lose the game. So yeah, play this card. I also wanted to point out that they have specific waste lands that they have printed. I'm very interested to see if there are cards that are specifically targeted towards waste. I know we have the, what is it, Ultima? That summon itself cares about waste, but it turns lands into waste, so it would make this waste tap for 2 colorless. Could be cool. Could be cool, but I'm interested to see if there is actually more to do with that than just those 2 cards. Zanarkand, Ancient Metropolis, another one of our adventure cards. So for green, create a colorless create a 1/1 colorless hero creature token. Put a +1/+1 counter on it for each land you control. Landfall decks love this. And then also enters tapped and makes a green for you. Yeah, this is a great card. This is such a good card. I want to play this card. I will be buying this card for my decks. Now we have Jidor, Aristocrat Capital. Also our adventure land. So for blue, target opponent mills half their library rounded down. Yuck. Yuck. And then enters tapped and taps for a blue. Yeah, this card's sweet. I like this. That's gonna make a lot of people angry. If you pull this in the pre-release, play this dang card, right? Play the card. Get your opponent's crap out of their library so they can't use it against you and turn the tide of war. Last land that we have right now is Adventurer's Inn. When this land enters, you gain 2 life and it taps for a waste or colorless. So sweet. That's fine. Gaining 2 life is I'm down with that. And it taps also. So cool. And it doesn't enter tapped, which is another key thing too. So everybody, we went through the white and the land cards today. Hope you found some cards that you liked. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you disagree with me. But until next time,